I am so excited to be in my classroom today. I have my car full of the rugs, the classroom rugs that I brought home to wash, and just this little tub of stuff that I brought home to work on. Why am I so why am I so sweaty? So let's get started. Here's a little hint. If you pack up your classroom at the end of the year in a way that you can just pull things out of the cabinets, it makes life so much easier when it is time to set up. So it looks kind of messy in my cabinets right now, but I basically layered everything by zone and where I'm going to pull it out and where it's going to go. So I just realized that I never gave an intro or who I am or what grade I'm teaching. Marielle, and this year I am teaching fifth grade. And last year, both Leanna and I taught second. And so we are converting our classrooms from a second grade classroom to a fifth grade classroom. And we're not doing, too much that's different, but we definitely have more students, more desks, bigger bodies. And so we'll be doing that. But I just wanted to give you a little glimpse of how I set up my classroom, the different zones. Incidentally, this is why I don't do vlogs, because I don't remember to film things or show things as they're happening. Many of the things you'll see were probably purchased either with district funds, or if it was my own money, I probably bought it heavily on clearance or sale. I don't think you should have to spend a bunch of your own money for your class unless that's something that you enjoy or that you want to do. So I'm hoping to show you a relatively realistic setup of a classroom that didn't cost that much money or time. I like to pack up my classroom at the end of the year in a way that I can unpack it really quickly. And to be honest, most of the time is spent schlepping plants from the car to my classroom. If there is a theme that I have, it's that. And it wasn't necessarily done intentionally. I just started bringing in plants, and then students bring plants, and then teacher friends find things. So don't think you have to have a theme, but I sort of defaulted to one just because that's what I did. If you'll see behind me, this is actually one of my favorite things to do when setting up a classroom. This bulletin board is actually just dollar store tablecloths, those kind of like plasticky vinyl ones, and they staple really nice. I wouldn't say they can be restapled a bunch. They will get holes or tears, but I think for a basic bulletin board that you're not changing things out too frequently, it works really well. We're really fortunate in our classrooms that our entire walls are covered with something that you can kind of like stick tacks into. It's not quite cork board, but it's pretty close. And so basically every wall can be a bulletin board in my classroom. So I just lucked out that the prior teacher who's in this classroom a couple of years ago left a bunch of the borders. So I just reused those, and I use the tablecloths for the bulletin boards. And then this I bought years ago, but it was in Target, and it's actually supposed to decorate the top of a table for, a birthday. It's in their like party area. If you go there, you can find a lot of that sort of tablescape stuff and just use it as bulletin board borders or to kind of jazz up the walls. So here we go, fifth grade. Here's a tip. If you have cubbies like these that have kind of a thin shelf, first of all, cover them with contact paper like Leanna, because it'll look way better than mine that are all tore up. But secondly, instead of labeling them with labels like prior teachers had done that and they kind of stick there or they make a mess or you're constantly, peeling off stickers, is just get a big enough binder clip that can fit around, either the shelf or the edge or whatever, and then label those. That way, if a kid changes cubbies or moves them, you're just moving the binder clip and you're not having to redo all of your labels or move shelves or pick off the sticker. This is great for student mailboxes too, if you have those. These are actually far too small for my fifth graders, so I'm going to use it to hold their like books and supplies, because I think the fifth graders will need a lot more transitions of getting up and getting their supplies. I actually don't like keeping too much in their desk. That way they're not just seated through an entire lesson. But yeah, the binder clips work really great. They just go like that and you're good to go. And you just change out the labels when your students change. You could also do it by classroom numbers if you use those instead of their names. But I love it. The big binder clips work really great. I'm so sweaty that I'm gonna plug in my fridge so I can start having cold water and stuff and put all my snacks in there and maybe take a break. But I've only been doing this for like 15 minutes. I love the way I pack up my classroom because it makes setting up so fast and so easy. And I also don't think that the classroom needs to be 100% perfect when the kids come in. They're gonna decorate it, they're gonna put up their work. I don't know why I'm crouching. Should I do this? Should I? Okay, whatever. I'm putting my fridge in. This is probably my absolute favorite classroom purchase, is having your own fridge that you could put your water, your snacks, your food in, and it's good to go. I usually put a desk over it so it's a little more tucked away, but I only have enough desks for the students, so I'll need to go get that. All right. Excuse the incredibly loud air conditioner in the background. I'm so happy that we have AC. We were doing a math activity. It was actually on Valentine's Day last year, and the students had to go around the classroom and solve math problems, and they were all saying that one was missing. And I'm like, there's no way that one is missing because I double checked when I put them up. And you can imagine what I just found behind a bookcase. It got knocked down. So here you go, last year's second grade. Is this a true statement? Here's a little hint. Don't unpack and move all of your chairs until you've figured out your seating arrangement. Otherwise, not only are you moving around 32 desks, but you're also dragging the chairs around. So I don't move the chairs until I'm totally satisfied. And to be honest, the first week I keep them pretty much in rows just because it's easier. And then I can figure out the groupings and seating charts once I've done my assessments. So yeah, leave the chairs to last. Or just have the kids do them. They can move them when they come on the first day. So I got this bistro set from Mega Clearance in IKEA. It still has the funny little like tags on it that are stuck on there. I'm gonna have to use like dental floss or something. It's like these button tags. Anyways, and I know 3 seats is not very big for the library, but it's sort of gonna be the special place that kids can earn to sit there. Make sure to hit up the end of summer clearance on outdoor rugs. I think I scored this one for $15. I love it. If I was going to change or redo anything, it would probably be my library. Unfortunately, you know, the books I think are a little young because they're from the second grade, but I'm not going to just buy all brand new books. And I also think the 5th graders will enjoy them as well. There's some chapter books in the corner. I still will probably redo some of the labels because I'm not actually sure if I'm going to organize it by type of book or not, or just have all the picture books together. But I try to keep the nonfiction separate at least. And then the chapter books in the corner and some sets like the Elephant and Piggy or whatever together as well. But this is our library area. We have some plants up there. We have a Chrome cart that has no Chromebooks in it. That's left over from the second grade. I don't know if that will stay there forever, but I really like the library area. And this bistro set is so light that I can move it out of the way if more than, 3 kids want to sit in there, if they want to sit on the floor. A really easy system I have for the kids is if they pull a book out and it belongs in a specific bin, which again, I'm not sure if I'll be labeling my bins or not, they just put it back in this book return. And then at the end of the day, I usually have 1 or 2 students volunteer to put the books back where they're going to go. Most students, I think by 5th grade, will be fine putting them back wherever they found it. But with 2nd grade, I found it really helpful to just have a bin that they could dump it off into. And the kids that could maybe read the labels or help each other read the labels could put them away at the end of the day. I just got a text that my husband arrived with the plants in his car, so I'm going to go get those and put those around the classroom. Plants! One of my favorite areas and one of my students' favorite areas is our cozy corner. We call it the cozy corner because I don't think anyone wants to be told to calm down. In the history of people telling me to calm down, I've never calmed down. And so I don't call it the calm down corner. We call it the cozy corner. And it has some great books. It has some flexible seating. The students use those cushions, in lots of different ways. But if they come over here, they can use it to just chill out. There's some different like manipulatives or poppets and that kind of thing in there. I also use this section over to the right for holding just miscellaneous things like our jump rope for PE, different games, different literacy activities that we do like magnet spelling. And then also I have letter stamps that they stamp into Play-Doh. That's what this is right here. So when they're working So when the students are working on spelling, they can stamp the words into Play-Doh. I also have some bins that might be holding some extra worksheets, but that's basically what this corner is. And I always introduce the cozy corner as sort of a reward. It's a special place you could sit with one or two people. There's some great books, there's activities they can do. And then that way, when students need it, if they're maybe overwhelmed or they need something to help them calm down, it doesn't seem like a punishment. It's somewhere where they want to be. It's often when we break up into groups, students want to sit over here. And so it becomes a reward. And because of that, I have found that kids use it more frequently than if it has some sort of stigma or label on it that you only go there when maybe you're in trouble or you're having a hard time regulating your emotions. This is an area that's open and it's fun and kids like to be here. And as that monstera grows and gets really big, I trim it back, but the kids love sitting under it when it turns into a huge canopy. So I did Rose, and then I walked over and I saw Leanna's classroom, and I liked her setup better, and I have to do what she does because she has all the best ideas. So I'm going to copy her and set up the desk just like she did. And this is why you don't move your chairs until you are done. Here's something I saw another teacher do. I think it was Stephanie. She just took an old sort of maybe like laundry basket or one of these plastic bins, and she stores it under her sink. And then when it's raining, you can put it outside your classroom and the kids can put their umbrellas in it. So if you have an old plastic garbage can or laundry basket or something like that, it's super great to keep those wet umbrellas from coming into your classroom. So just stick it right outside your door when it's raining and store it under your sink when you don't need it. Look at Stephanie bringing the treat to everybody like always. So I'm going to show you one of my favorite organization systems in my classroom, or at least the one that other teachers always notice when they come in. And it is how I store my markers and colored pencils. I used to give the kids their own colored pencils and their markers, but inevitably, a student's certain color would run out and then they're trying to exchange them and they're always out of a certain color. So now we just have communal supplies that I organize by color. So rarely will students need all of the colors, but if we're doing an activity where they only need certain colors, then they just come over and get them. It takes 30 seconds max for the whole class. Sometimes I'll send over a kid from a particular group to get the colors for everyone. But if we're doing a free choice activity or they're just coloring, they can just come over and get them. And it's great because when a pen dries out or a pencil needs to be sharpened, they can just take care of it. They can throw it away. I have a whole supply bin with extra ones that I'll sort of use to refresh all the supplies later on. But I love it. It's a very quick system and it's very easily organized. Words cannot describe how much I don't like these rainbow cards. Actually, words can, because I made an entire video about how much I hate this. Well, I don't hate it. I just don't like using it. And how I have an entirely different system I use to file my papers. But like most teachers, I bought it because I thought it was cute and needed to be in the classroom. And now it just holds my microphone stuff. Not like I need a voice amplifier. I'm loud enough. But it's here. And sometimes it holds my water bottle. I labeled it with what I thought would be in there, but it's not. So I just had to show that. I think we all have this purchase, right? Okay. So my board is done, and I'm gonna just sort of talk through each section. It's nothing fancy, but I like seeing what other teachers put on their boards, so this is what mine is. So eventually these pockets will have our unit goals in them, and then down here is where I put their passwords. I'll link a video where I show that I use these little keychain tags to do that, but that's sort of a student hub. And then over here is our agenda. It's really simple. It's just the date and then the different classes. And of course, I will write the times on the right-hand side once I know them. In the middle of my board, I have the must do and then can do. I like giving the students lots of different options of what activities they need to do. So usually there's a must do, worksheet or page or activity, and then a couple different optional activities that go in the can do. Often, when you ask a student to turn to a specific page, they don't always hear you, which totally makes sense. So I always write it in that bottom section on the right with the page number so they always know where to look. I don't know if I'll be using these signs as much with 5th grade, but they're basically just visuals of the steps, so step 1, write your name, then cut out and write. I'll probably still use it with 5th grade, but I really liked having them for 2nd grade as well. Having the infographic plus the word was really helpful for them. Over on the right side of the board is where I will have my star student, and basically it is who is my helper for the day, and they get special privileges, like they'll get to choose the song that plays during our cleanup, they'll get to be line leader if they'd like to do that, they get to be teacher's assistant, whatever it might be, and I tend to do this instead of class jobs, because I don't like having to rotate class jobs or assign new ones or teach them. Everybody cleans up at the end of the day. All the students are responsible for their own desks and different areas. I really like that communal aspect. But sometimes it's nice to have a kid who will pass out the papers, whatever it might be. And so this is a blank one, obviously, but I have all the student names on each one of these. And each day I'll just flip it over to the next one. And they are the star student for the day. And they will get to be a helper, but also have some privileges. This section is where I'll just write our spelling words for the week. And then down here, I just have one of these like soap caddy things that hold all my markers because I don't like having to find them all in the tray all over the place. What I do for student names is I'll put each name on a playing card, and then that way I can shuffle the deck to randomly pull a student if that's how I'm cold calling on kids. Or it's nice for making groups. You can deal them out really quickly. So I will hole punch them and put them here. And then that is just the doorbell, which is what we use for our cleanup when we are done with our community stations. Speaking of community stations, here are my community stations. They're different things like puzzles, Lego, Marble Run. I'll probably get some older kid games. Most of this is for when I taught 2nd grade. But in the morning, we start each class with about 5 or 10 minutes of different community activities, whether it's coloring or doing one of these bins or lots of different options. I made a video on it a little while ago, and I absolutely love it. The kids love it. It's sort of a soft start to the day, and it really has the kids learn about turn taking and building community. So this is my teacher command center. It doesn't have my teacher's manuals in it, but it's basically just a podium that has my overhead projector. Wait, they don't call it that anymore. Document camera. My document camera on there, and that's where I'll demonstrate how to do different activities or lessons, and the students can see it up on the television behind me. That keyboard connects to a Chromebox that can play different things on the TV, whether it's slides or whatever I have prepared. This is just a super old baker's rack that I had in some apartment that I had, like 20 years ago. But it works. I would prefer like a lectern or a podium, but you got to use what you have. One of my math centers is going to be these STEM bins. Really, they're just bins with different little activities in them, or like manipulatives, I should say, centimeter cubes, Lego, whatever it might be. And then I got these cards off of TPT, but you could certainly make your own that has the students construct something with their bin, whether it's, something that's a description, or whether it's, maybe a shape or whatever it might be. They also have, pictures. So that'll be one of the math stations. And eventually I hope to make a video of all my different math rotations, but this will be one of them. So this area is not set up yet because I am waiting on some tables from the custodial staff, but I'm really excited because this corner is actually going to be a little student news broadcast area. AC just kicked on, where once a week the students are going to produce on their own a weekly kind of announcements. If you remember back when I was in school, when we were in school, they'd have the little PA announcements. It's going to be like that, but it's going to be video, and they're going to live stream it to the rest of the school. And but I'm waiting on a little bit of equipment to sort of get set up there, but that's what that corner is going to be. And as the year progresses, I hope to be able to make some videos on what we learned from the experience, how we did it, and how we put it together. So I'm really excited that the students get to create their own weekly broadcast, and hopefully we'll be able to branch out and bring in other teachers and other classes to highlight the special things they're doing in our community. So that's what's going to be set up right there. That'll be the backdrop. Obviously I'll move that teacher chart paper, but this area will pretty much be open for now until I get some tables and chairs, and I bring in, we have some iPads that the students can use to create their own stories, and I'll probably use this camera in order to film them when we go live. But what's kind of fun is there's an extra monitor on the ground, and what I'm going to have the kids do is, obviously that'll be on a table, but it'll be facing the kids who are doing the broadcast. And I'm going to have another student whose job is running the teleprompter. So we're going to have a Chromebook connected to that monitor. It's going to have slides on it that the presenters are going to read, and it's going to be one student's job to run that teleprompter for them. So that's what that's going to be used for. All right, I think the only thing left I have to do over here is label their cubbies with those little binder clips. I'm going to wait to do that for another time, but what will happen is in their cubbies, they can't really fit their backpacks because they're so small, so I think their backpacks, unfortunately, are going to have to stay on the back of their chairs. It does make maneuvering a little bit harder, but I don't have any hooks or anywhere else for them to put it. So the cubbies will be used for their student workbooks and maybe, the student supplies in that way, like textbooks and whatnot, because in their desks, I like them to just have their Chromebook and a pencil tray with some pencils and a dry erase marker, and that's kind of it. I don't like their desks having to have everything. I like them to be able to get up and get their supplies, get a little bit of a movement break, but also it keeps their desk from getting cluttered, especially if they have to store their Chromebook in there. So that's about it for this area. I really recommend having an area that just has all the clipboards in it so students can grab one and go sit on the floor, and then also just having a bunch of whiteboards ready to go. The students will have an expo marker in their desk already, so all they have to do is come grab a whiteboard and they can collaborate with other students or use it at their desk if that's what they're working on. So here's something new I'm trying this year, and I got the idea from Stephanie. And what happens is it's just a bunch of different emotions on the door. And since our door is metal, it can take magnets. So when I greet the students at the door, I can check in with them and see how they're feeling. And I got this pack from Staples. It's just magnetic business cards. So this is peel and stick, and you can put anything you want on there. It's supposed to be for business cards, but I can put the students' names on here. So I'll print out some labels to put on here. And then when they check in, they can put their name under how they're feeling. If they don't want to decide, they can just leave it up here. That's totally fine. And it not only helps with attendance, but also it's a nice way for me to sort of check in with them. And if they don't feel like saying how they feel, they can show it by putting their name. And if they don't want to do it publicly, they can just leave their name up there, and that's totally fine. And they can tell me privately if they prefer. And what I love that Stephanie talks about happened is that often students might feel a certain way when they first come in, and then maybe after recess, something happens or something changes, and they move their name to a different spot, which is, I think, kind of fun or cool. Or if it, goes the other way, like maybe they were happy and something happened where they got hurt at recess, they can indicate it that way. But if the kids don't want to have their names out here, or if I find the kids don't want to do that, then they can just point to it and let me know when they come in how they're feeling. Having a metal door rocks for this kind of thing. I love it. So with the exception of labeling their cubbies and maybe putting some stickers on their books that have their name and putting the desk nameplates, I think I'm done. Like I said, there's not a whole bunch I do before the start of school. As the year progresses, I'll put up anchor charts and student work. I do have a little section that I need to redo to have their student work, where you have the clip and then they put their work on it. Leanna actually has it set up really nice. But because I have more students, I had to redo the numbers. So basically I have their numbers that I'm going to put on little clips, and then I left it blank underneath so that I could write their name in either Expo marker or whatever, dry erase. And then that way, if their numbers change, I don't have to redo their names every time. I can just wipe it off and rewrite the name on the new number. So I think I'm going to put the student work on this big old bulletin board, but I'm not particularly stressed about getting that done before school starts. We have another teacher work day, and so I'll probably just do that then. But that's about that for that bulletin board. I've mentioned this in other videos, but I love using a shoe organizer for student headphones. These headphones happen to come in little plastic baggies, but you could certainly just put the headphones in the pocket, and I number them and it works out great.